Well, the Dems are at it again, and they're singing again. This time they've decided to observe the January 6, 2021 Capitol storming by Trump supporters in a fashion they would only have for remembering an actual tragedy like 9/11. Watch this. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you to Leader Jeffries, to my Senate colleagues and all members of the House, and thank you to all of those in attendance today who loved ones because of January 6th. To Officer Brian Sicknick's mother and brother, Gladys and Glenn. Gladys and I are Madison High School graduates together. To Officer Jeffrey Smith's spouse, Erin, and to everyone else, thank you for being here. We are here today because we must never forget what happened on January 6th, 5 years ago. Not only must we remember it, but so much must our children, our grandchildren, and future generations. The day democracy was placed at greater risk than it has been in more than a century.
So let's be real. The performative nonsense coming from the left is at an all-time high. It is 100% a partisan witch hunt designed to bash Republicans and anyone who supports Trump. The cringe factor of their January 6th candlelight vigils is over 1,000. It's so scripted and over the top that it's almost impressive they can keep a straight face about it. They wonder why their approval ratings are in the basement. Well, it's because of stunts like this that we feel more like a theater production when we're watching it than their actual governance of anything. Nobody takes them seriously anymore because of things like this. They can't even take themselves seriously. They don't care about the people they claim to represent. They only care about finding ways to try to one-up Trump, which always backfires spectacularly.
Let us never mince words about what happened again. Those who try to lie about it, those who try to make up myths about it, we're not there. We were. Most of us. We know exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. And then, even more malicious, Donald Trump's White House released a maliciously false account that blamed the Capitol Police for the violence. How disgraceful, how despicable, how disgusting, how low. Donald Trump showed what a low human being he is by his actions. That day and in preceding days, where he tried to lie and cover up the truth. It's stunning. He is stunning in his maliciousness and his dishonesty. And then, to show truly who he was once again, if his evil character, if his bad character didn't come through enough, on the first day of his presidency, he issued a blanket pardon for every single criminal who attacked our police on January 6th. And now, in a vicious twist of the truth, he blames law enforcement for the violence. In the face of such blatant lies, let us all tell the truth and let future generations remember it. On January 6th, our Capitol Police officers were heroes. Our DC police were heroes. Our law enforcement, who protected this building, protected lives, protected democracy, were our true heroes, and to them, personified by the Sicknick and Smith families, we say thank you. You are the great Americans. You are the great Americans. Not Trump and his minions.
The media and Democrats want you to obsess over January 6th, but they've conveniently memory hold the summer of love in 2020. Let's look at the numbers they don't want to talk about. The riots following George Floyd's death caused between $1 billion and $2 billion in insured property damage, the most expensive period of civil unrest in American history. Well, okay, what about the violence? Over 25 people died during this summer of unrest, and thousands of police officers and others were injured. In Minneapolis alone, over 700 buildings were damaged or burned. And the hypocrisy of it all is that the Democrats claim to care about law enforcement now. But where were the vigils for David Dorn, who was shot responding to a burglary by a rioter during the George Floyd riots in Missouri? Or the countless officers beaten and abused during the BLM riots? The Dems conveniently forget about all of that when they zero on something that they can think will get Trump. Or they just simply don't care. They treat police like they're their political pawns. Anti-police when it fits the narrative, and pro-police when they can only use it, like I said, to target Trump. Another issue they fail to mention in their cartoonish visual is the death of Ashley Babbitt. And while the media frames January 6th as a mass casualty event for the police, the reality is that the only person actually killed in the heat of the moment was Ashley Babbitt, a 35-year-old Air Force veteran. She was unarmed when she was shot by Lieutenant Michael Byrd, a law enforcement officer at the Capitol that day, when she attempted to climb through a window. The DOJ declined to charge the officer, and the media has largely ignored her as a martyr for the other side, since she was a Trump supporter, and I guess that means she can't truly be a victim. To many, the fact that her name was never mentioned at the Democrat Vigil proves just how one-sided their concern for life really is. And to add insult to injury, Democrats have actually passed laws that make a police officer's job nearly impossible. Democrat-led legislators have moved to limit or end qualified immunity. This makes officers personally liable for lawsuits, essentially hanging them out to dry for making split-second decisions. And some of these restricting tactics, in Washington state, Democrats passed House Bill 1054 and House Bill 1310, which severely limited when police can engage in vehicular pursuits or use certain de-escalating tools, leading to a massive spike in crime as criminals realized the police were legally handcuffs. Many Democrat-run cities have also made efforts to cut funding and support to the police. Following the 2020 George Floyd protests, cities like Seattle, Portland, Los Angeles, New York, and Austin, and Philadelphia pledged or implemented cuts to police budgets, reallocating funds to social services, while Minneapolis voted to dismantle its police department for a new public safety model. And many of these cities rank among the highest in crime. But the most cringe and ironic part of all of this lecture is on saving democracy.
We must never, never, never stop fighting for this beautiful democracy, which January 6th showed us is more fragile than we ever imagined. Donald Trump's big lie is powerful, but the roots of our democracy and our desire to make sure the truth remains the truth are even stronger. Perseverance of the American people is greater.
Let's look at the most recent Kamala coronation. Talk about a lack of democracy. Look at how Kamala Harris became the nominee. After Joe Biden won every single primary for his run for his second term, the party elite essentially forced him out and installed Kamala Harris. She wasn't voted in like, I don't know, a democracy would vote her in. This essentially was a big screw you to those who voted for Biden and also supported him monetarily, financially, since you can't just assume that they would also have supported Harris. In the grand scheme of things, January 6th was a blip, one day of unrest, compared to the massive months-long Summer of Love riots, the Antifa violence, and the pro-Palestine riots that we've seen in recent past. The magnitude doesn't even compare to these. The idea that we have to treat it like 9/11 is pure propaganda, not reality. The thing about all this is that Trump didn't even order those at his rally to go and attack the Capitol. He only advised them to protest peacefully, which is their right. So their premise for defaulting on January 6th whenever they're losing the argument is based on a lie. Here's footage of what Trump actually said in how to protest at the Capitol.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity of our elections. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity of our elections.
And that's the thing that Dems won't ever mention, because they'll lose even more credibility. Trump supporters shouldn't have done what they did, no doubt. And they probably don't want to bring up how Trump supporters are quote unquote violent, racist bigots, because last time we checked, 99% of the violence has come from the left in the form of rioting, assassinations, and so on. So when you're in a glass house, it's best not to throw stones. And this has been your daily dose of the truth. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.